Did you know that your brain has a built-in negativity bias that makes you 5 times more likely to remember bad events than good ones? This ancient survival mechanism that once kept our ancestors alive is now sabotaging your happiness. But here's the incredible part. You can rewire this bias using science-backed techniques that most people never learn. Your brain treats a missed text message from a friend with the same alarm system it would use for a charging tiger. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between actual threats and social awkwardness. It just screams danger and floods your system with stress hormones. Understanding this is the first step to emotional freedom. 1. The 2-minute reset technique. What if you could completely shift your emotional state in just 2 minutes? This isn't meditation or breathing exercises. It's something called physiological shifting, and it works by hacking your nervous system directly. Our autonomic nervous system has 2 modes: sympathetic, which handles stress and alerts, and parasympathetic, which manages rest and recovery. Most people live in chronic sympathetic activation without realizing it. The 2-minute reset deliberately activates your parasympathetic system using specific physical actions. Here's the technique. First, splash cold water on your wrists and behind your ears for 30 seconds. The sudden temperature change activates your vagus nerve, which controls your rest response. Next, do 20 jumping jacks or run in place for 1 minute. This burns off stress hormones already in your system. Finally, spend 30 seconds humming any tune while tapping your chest. The vibrations stimulate your vagus nerve, while the humming regulates your breathing naturally. This works because you're not trying to think your way out of stress. You're using your body to change your brain chemistry. It's like having a reset button for your nervous system that you can use anywhere, anytime. 2. The curiosity cure. Have you ever noticed that you can't be curious and anxious at the same time? This isn't just an observation. It's a neurological fact that you can use to transform overwhelming situations. When you're anxious, your brain enters threat detection mode, scanning for problems and dangers. Curiosity activates the learning centers of your brain, creating a completely different neurological state. The 2 states are mutually exclusive, which means curiosity is anxiety's natural antidote. The next time you feel overwhelmed by a situation, instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" try asking, "What might I discover here?" Or, "What could this teach me?" This shift from threat scanning to information gathering changes your brain's entire approach to the situation. Let's say you're nervous about a difficult conversation with your boss. The anxiety-driven questions are, "What if I get fired?" Or, "What if they think I'm incompetent?" The curiosity-driven questions become, "What matters most to them in this situation?" Or, "What information do they need to make a good decision?" 3. Emotional granularity. Most people have the emotional vocabulary of a 3-year-old. They feel good, bad, stressed, or fine. But research shows that people who can distinguish between subtle emotional states have significantly better mental health and decision-making abilities. Emotional granularity is your ability to make fine-grained distinctions between similar emotions. Instead of just feeling bad, you might recognize that you're feeling disappointed, frustrated, or concerned. Each of these emotions contains different information and suggests different responses. When you can't name what you're feeling precisely, your brain treats all negative emotions as generic threats. But when you can distinguish between being overwhelmed, anxious, or discouraged, you can respond appropriately to each. Overwhelm needs prioritization. Anxiety needs perspective. Discouragement needs encouragement. Start building emotional granularity by asking yourself, "What specifically am I feeling right now?" When emotions arise, use precise words. Instead of upset, try frustrated by the lack of progress or disappointed by the outcome. This simple practice literally rewires your brain to process emotions more effectively. 4. The perspective ladder. What if you could step outside your problems and see them from multiple angles instantly? The perspective ladder is a mental tool that gives you this superpower by systematically shifting your viewpoint from narrow to expansive. Most emotional distress comes from being stuck in one perspective, usually a close-up, dramatic view of our problems. The perspective ladder helps you zoom out systematically, revealing solutions and reducing emotional intensity. Here's how it works. Start at the bottom rung with your immediate perspective. This project deadline is impossible. Move up to the weekly view. This is a challenging week, but I've handled tough weeks before. Continue to the monthly perspective. In a month, this will be finished and I'll have learned something valuable. Then yearly. This year, I'm building skills that will serve my entire career. Finally, the life perspective. I'm developing resilience that will help me through any challenge. Each rung up the ladder reduces emotional intensity while maintaining the problem's importance. You're not minimizing legitimate concerns, you're seeing them in proper context. 5. Energy accounting. What if you managed your emotional energy the same way you manage your bank account? Most people are emotionally bankrupt because they never learned energy accounting, the practice of tracking and protecting your psychological resources. You have finite emotional energy each day. Every decision, interaction, and stressor makes a withdrawal. Most people spend this energy unconsciously, then wonder why they feel depleted. Energy accounting helps you spend intentionally and invest in activities that restore rather than drain. Start tracking your energy like you track expenses. Notice what consistently drains you, certain people, activities, or environments. Also identify what reliably restores you, specific music, activities, or conversations. The goal isn't to eliminate all draining activities, but to balance them with restorative ones. Create energy budgets for challenging days. If you know you have a difficult meeting, plan restoration activities before and after. If you're dealing with a stressful period, temporarily reduce optional energy expenditures to preserve resources for what matters most. 6. The implementation intention. Why do most self-improvement efforts fail? It's not lack of motivation or willpower. It's the lack of specific implementation plans. Your brain needs concrete if, then instructions to turn intentions into actions. Implementation intentions bridge the gap between wanting to change and actually changing by creating automatic behavioral triggers. Instead of vague goals like, I'll be more positive, you create specific scenarios. If I catch myself catastrophizing, then I'll use the perspective ladder technique. Research shows that people who use implementation intentions are 2 to 3 times more likely to achieve their goals. This works because you're programming your brain with conditional responses that bypass the need for conscious decision making in the moment. For each resilience technique you want to integrate, create specific if-then plans. If I feel overwhelmed at work, then I'll use the 2-minute reset. If I start ruminating before bed, then I'll practice emotional granularity by naming 3 specific emotions I'm experiencing. Write these plans down and review them weekly. Your brain needs repetition to automate new patterns. 7. Stress inoculation. What if you could build immunity to stress the same way vaccines build immunity to diseases? Stress inoculation training does exactly this by exposing you to manageable amounts of controlled stress to build your capacity for handling larger challenges. The principle is simple. Gradual exposure to mild stressors builds psychological resilience. Just as your muscles grow stronger from progressive resistance training, your stress response system becomes more robust through calculated challenges. Start small with voluntary discomfort. Take cold showers, practice public speaking, have difficult conversations you've been avoiding, or try activities slightly outside your comfort zone. The key is choosing stressors deliberately, rather than being victim to random ones. Document your experiences with controlled stress. Notice how you handle challenges better over time. This builds confidence in your ability to cope with unexpected difficulties. You're literally training your nervous system to stay calmer under pressure. Stress inoculation transforms your relationship with discomfort from something to avoid into a tool for growth. 8. Building your personal resilience protocol. Now it's time to integrate everything into a personalized system that works for your unique life and challenges. A resilience protocol isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a customized framework based on your specific triggers, strengths, and circumstances. Start by identifying your personal stress patterns. What situations consistently challenge you? What time of day are you most vulnerable? What early warning signs tell you that stress is building? Understanding your patterns lets you intervene proactively rather than reactively. Next, select techniques that resonate with your learning style and lifestyle. Visual learners might prefer the perspective ladder, while kinesthetic learners might gravitate toward the 2-minute rees. Match tools to your natural preferences for better compliance. Create your daily maintenance routine using these elements. morning energy intention, setting, midday stress check-ins, evening reflection on what worked, and weekly protocol refinement. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistent practice that builds resilience over time. Remember, resilience isn't about avoiding difficult emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about developing the skills to navigate challenges with greater ease and recover more quickly from setbacks. These techniques work because they're based on how your brain and body actually function, not on wishful thinking. Your resilience protocol should evolve as you do. What works during one life phase might need adjustment during another. The goal is creating a flexible framework that serves you through any circumstance. The most resilient people aren't those who never face difficulties. They're the ones who've developed reliable systems for working through challenges. Today, you've begun building that system. Your future self will thank you for starting this journey toward greater emotional strength and stability. Start with one technique that feels most relevant to your current challenges. Practice it consistently for 1 week, then gradually add others. Remember, small consistent actions create profound changes over time. Your resilience journey begins with this single step. If these resilience techniques have opened your eyes to new possibilities for mental strength and emotional regulation, I'd love for you to share this knowledge with others who could benefit from it. Mental resilience shouldn't be a secret. It should be accessible to everyone. Hit that like button if this content helped you understand your mind better. Your engagement tells me that science-based approaches to mental wellness matter to you, and it helps this content reach others who are searching for practical solutions to life's challenges. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss new techniques for building a stronger, more resilient mindset. I'm constantly researching and testing new psychological tools that can make your life easier and more fulfilling. And please, share this with someone who could use these tools right now. Whether they're going through a tough time or simply want to build better mental habits, these techniques can make a real difference in their life. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is pass along knowledge that has the potential to transform how someone experiences their own mind. Your journey to greater resilience starts today, but it doesn't have to be a journey you take alone. Together, we can build a community of people committed to understanding and optimizing their mental wellness through science rather than guesswork.